Have you ever imagined a country without queues? Have you ever imagined a situation when you have a newborn and you want to give her a name and you would not have to take her to the government office? Especially when the weather is like this. Have you ever imagined a situation that you would not have to carry loads of papers from one office to another in order to prove that you are you? This is actually possible. Today I'm going to tell you about Estonia and e-Estonia and how we have managed to do that. In Estonia, we have a vast amount of e-services. Pretty much you can do almost everything online. You can establish a company within 18 minutes online without leaving a home. You can file your taxes in a bus with the help of your mobile phone, because everything is pre-filled and the only thing you have to do is push the next button. It takes you 5 minutes if you're slow. You can see your medical record online, and you can choose the hospital and you can choose the doctor to show your medical record to. And you can use e-prescriptions in order to buy your medicine from whatever pharmacy you choose from. I'm going to tell you what it takes in order to build a proper e-government, and what are the steps we have taken and where we are heading. This fancy man there, this is our former president, Mr. Mägi. He was the proud owner of one of the first mobile phones in Estonia. When he got the new one, he got this one, if you remember, back in the days, that if you wanted to have a custom ringing tone, you had to put in letters and numbers in order to have this fancy ringing tone, whatever you wanted. So he had this phone and he told to his office that, hey guys, I would like to have Estonian anthem as my ringing tone, so make it happen. You can imagine the faces of the guys of his office. Come on, what we gonna do now? So they started to type in the numbers and letters. It took them a whole night in order to make it happen. But early in the morning, when Mr. Mägi had a meeting, somehow he got the call. It was ringing Estonian anthem. He was picking it up. Hello, I can hear you. So during the time, and it has been always like this, we have been looking toward Finland as a proper country. They had like everything in a place. And when we started to build our own new Estonia in early 90s, we were looking towards Finland again. They had higher income, they had low corruption, they had proper government structure in place, and can you imagine, they had Nokia. So Mägi told that we, as Estonians, should look for Estonian Nokia. So wise men gathered at the government office and started to think, what should we do? So we were in a situation that we are a small nation, and we were starting to build up our governmental services and what people expect from a regular government. But it was pretty obvious that in order to have a proper service level from government point of view, then you would have to pretty much hire all Estonians, because we are only 1.3 million. So the decision was made that we should automate it as much as possible, because it might save some costs, and otherwise we are not able to provide the services anyway. So we started to look for Estonian Nokia, and our plan A was to build e-government. Actually, we didn't have any plan B. So I'm taking you a bit back of time. Estonia is a small country, nation, in northeast of Europe. And somehow this is a really popular piece of land. We have been invaded so many times by so many nations that you lost the count. Swedes have been there, Danes have been there, Swedish, I told you, yeah. Germans, Russians, Poles, okay, so bunch of people. So now imagine yourself, put yourself in the shoes of Estonian peasant, like 700 years ago. I know this is a tough one, but still try. You would like to live your life really peacefully, but you have all the foreigners all the time in your backyard. You cannot actually go to your potatoes because there is one sweet guy and there is a Russian and so on, so it's difficult, you know? So how would you live your life? How would you survive? The instinct was that in order not to be killed and have a proper life, you would go as far away as possible from the others. So our villages are built in a dispersed way. It means that our villages, our houses in the villages, are sometimes tens of kilometers away from each other. This has been a survival instinct for us. So, when we started to build up e-government, then we got scared again. From technical point of view, when you look at the architecture of information systems, then there are like two bigger options. You either centralize all information into one server, or you use it from different locations. You can imagine which solution we took. We took the distributed architecture. Basically, what it means that each ministry is a kingdom in itself. They can manage their own information system, but the citizen is the data owner. And we are exchanging data between different governmental institutions. So, what it has enabled us? It has enabled us to implement the concept of once only. So, basically what it means is that you only have to file in your information to the government institution once, and then the government institution has the obligation to reuse this information. They cannot ask this from you. So you can see from this picture that, for example, my picture is pulled from police and border card. My information about my education is pulled from education board. And my information about my family doctor, Anna Poljanchikova, I haven't seen her, is pulled from the social affairs. So with the help of this kind of approach, we can always build up services without asking you what kind of information government actually needs in order to provide it, because the government actually has this information already. Another thing which we did, we copied from Finns. This is a national ID card. It's a kind of a piece of plastic, but it has a chip on it. And with the help of this chip, you can actually log into any governmental service without the need to pre-register, and you can give digital signatures with it. With the help of digital signatures, you don't have to go to the government office physically anymore to take papers there. You can do this from your home, you can sign documents from your home, and you can send them via services or via email or whatever. It was really obvious from the beginning that in order to make it happen, we have to change our legislation. For example, we accepted digital signature law back in 2000s because we knew that many of the legislation is dating back like ages, and it doesn't fit to the modern age. And now wonder, for the future, maybe the law can be written in code. So now where we are. Now Estonia is one of the least corrupted countries in the world. We have 99% of bank transactions done online. We are e-voting for our parliament. 30% of our casts were voted over internet. And we do everything pretty much online. 98% of taxes are filed in online. So what we have for the future? We are living in the age of artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, free internet access, and the government asks you to file in A4 format applications to get something done. Stamp it, put a picture in it. What's your name? It's ridiculous. What we have figured out in Estonia that even if you take this A4 format application and you put it online and ask people to fill it in online, even this is electronic Stone Age. What we are working at the moment is government 5.0, let's say. The government, which has all the information already about you anyway, and we are reusing it and putting the government work behind the scenes. So instead asking applications from you in order to get some kind of a benefit from the government, we are pushing this. We have a long way to go still. We have some services, but we have a long way to go, but we are working on this so that the government could work seamlessly behind the scenes. We are scared again. And we know that there are new hectic times ahead. You remember what the Estonians do when they get scared? They get distributed. So we have a plan how to become a big nation, because at the moment we are 1.3 million, but by 2025 we want to be 10 million. It's quite a burden for ladies, I would say. But we have a different approach, as usually. We have come up with a concept of e-residency. This is a governmental startup. And basically what we have done is that we are providing you, if you want to, access to our e-government. And you can use our e-services with the help of our e-residency card. If you want to establish a company, you can do this online. If you want to open a bank account, you can do this online. If you want to sign documents digitally and legally binding, you can do this with the help of e-residency. At the moment, we have 10,000 e-residents, so we have still way to go, but it has not been live for long. And we have already around 400-something companies registered. We are building global Estonian village. You cannot go more distributed as this. So, for a conclusion, I would say that in order to have e-society running in your country or e-government in place, you have to have strong political will. You have to change your legislation according to the 21st century standards, because otherwise we would be using legislation which is dating back to 1800s or something. You have to convince all the parties, governments, citizens, and everybody that we are in the same boat, and if we don't go in the same way, then we are not going anywhere. And for a conclusion, if you want to live in a modern day e-society and a country without the queues, you have two options. One option is to become e-Estonian or e-resident. Or the second option is to vote for those guys who are actually willing to put themselves out there in order to make it happen. Thank you.